All right, welcome back into Sports Drive. Joining us now from TPSN, as always, Mike Roden. Mike, thanks so much for taking the time and coming on the show. It's playoff time here in the Texas Panhandle for high school football, an exciting time of year, and it's going to be fun. A lot of Amarillo teams making it this year, you know?
A lot of teams, and it is fun to kind of see who plays, who and where and all of that kind of good stuff. And so always fun to mull over that. And we've got some great matchups, some tough matchups for local teams, and then some that maybe aren't so tough. So it'll see if it all goes as expected. And normally it does in round one, but we kind of found out last year that it doesn't always go to the highest seeded team. Even those number one seeds out of their district, it's no gimme. Last year, Childress was the powerhouse and won their district, beat Canadian in the regular season, went in as the district champion and number one seed, played number 4 seed Stanton Buffaloes in the first round. Childress was out in the first round. So huge upset that I don't think hardly anybody could believe that took place last year in the first round. So, you got to go out and you got to play to be able to move on.
So maybe that'll be Boys Ranch Wellington this year, as we we're going to talk to Boys Ranch's head coach next. We just talked to Coach Wampler. So
okay.
Maybe we were talking about that game. Maybe that'll be the one that surprised us this year. Who knows? But a few other games that have caught our eye so far. We'll kind of go down the list. We got our list that Mike put together. He put together 5-page guide. It must have taken him all night or something.
I have to have it in front of me, or I don't know anything.
How long did this take you?
Oh, it really didn't take that long. It's out there on the internet. The internet's a great thing. So
2 or 3 hours.
No, not that long.
Okay, all right.
Fair
enough. All right, so we got a lot of the games we can expect. We'll go down the list. Like I said, it goes from 5A to 2A. So we'll go down some of these games for as much time as we can. We'll start with the game over at Amarillo High, which I know we want to talk about in relation to TPSN a little bit. Tascosa playing against El Paso Ysleta, and shout out to I forget who told me how to pronounce it, but somebody did. So shout out to whoever told me how to pronounce it, El Paso Ysleta. But that game with Tascosa, I know there's some broadcasts and things that you want to make sure people know as far as if they're looking to watch the game on TPSN.
Yeah, of course. This season we've live streamed home games. We've done live TV on Thursday, which the UIL allows us to do. They allow us only to do live video streaming on Fridays, and then we replayed the games on Saturday on live TV. Playoffs are a little different. UIL owns the playoff rights to all the games across Texas, so they do sublease those out occasionally if their broadcast partners are not picking up the game. And so we have to apply for that. We have to pay a fee for that if granted, and then we can carry the game. We don't know yet if they're going to allow us to do that. We have made the request to live stream the Tascosa game from Dick Bivens on Friday on newschannel10.com and tpsnsports.com, but won't know till probably Wednesday if that's going to be granted or not. We will have audio coverage of this game no matter what. That's only the video rights that the UIL owns in the postseason. Okay. And so, again, all of our playoff teams on TPSN, most of them, or all of them other than Tascosa, will be on the road. So we normally do just audio streaming on the road. That will be the case for the playoffs. But with the Tascosa game being at home, we did request and hopefully will be approved to carry the live stream of that game as well.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll hear about that soon. How will I know a lot of people will have wanted to watch these games on TPSN, have been following all season. So hopefully they still get to do that. How will people know? Will there be any kind of post on the website announcing that? I mean, obviously
yes.
Maybe we can come here on Sports Drive on Wednesday and talk
Sure.
about it a little bit. But is there going to be anywhere else people can be notified?
Yeah, we'll definitely let people know on the website if that is granted, and we'll put it out there on social media as well. It's kind of the playoffs are just a whole different story that people don't realize. They just expect you, hey, you've carried them all season. Why can't you carry them, and why aren't you carrying them in the playoffs? Well, we really don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
We can make the request, but it's all up to the UIL and their broadcast partners. They own the rights, and we have to go through them to be able to put any video stream in the playoffs on the air, because we are a public media outlet. Now, some schools are they don't do their games through a public media outlet. They do it because they're, I'm trying to think of the term. I can't think of the term all of a sudden, but there's it's a school function and a non-commercial school broadcast.
Right.
And I've had people tell me, well, they have all their games on. Well, that's because they're not a media outlet. They're a school. And some schools do it differently and have those. And then, of course, some schools are members of the NFHS network, and that also kind of knocks us out. If it's going to be live streamed on NFHS, then they own those rights. We don't. And so, our hands are kind of tied in the whole thing. But hopefully, we got to do the Tascosa game last year. We were approved for that. Hopefully, they'll approve us for that this year as well.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll keep people updated on that. As far as the game itself, Tascosa playing at home, obviously, very fun anytime you can play at home. You're going to have to refresh me. Has in recent years, Tascosa's obviously been really good for a while. How common is it for them to host a playoff game this time of year?
Well, it's been more common lately, and last year, obviously, they got on the playoff road and they played at home in their first game and went deep into the playoffs. So hopefully they can get on that same kind of run again this year. But 6A and 5A, if you get one of those top two seeds, you get a first-round home playoff game.
Top two seeds? I thought it was just the top seed.
No, top two seeds.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was looking and thinking
if you'll notice,
head,
Lubbock Cooper is playing at home as well.
Yeah, and I noticed Amarillo High was going to El Paso.
Right.
And I was thinking, boy, I thought that it was just the one seed, but okay,
No.
That makes sense. Top two seeds. That clarifies things a little bit. So
I don't particularly care for that rule, honestly.
Yeah.
No, they didn't ask me, but I do think. I am glad that there is some consideration for rewarding a district champion,
Right.
and maybe even a runner-up, but in West Texas, it just doesn't work. It works in the Metroplex, it works in Austin, it works in Houston, because they're all right there together. It doesn't work in West Texas when a team has to travel to El Paso, or El Paso has to travel to Amarillo.
Right.
It's just too much of a hardship. There should be some consideration of that, and I wish they would consider that a little more, but it is what it is.
Now, when we look at these El Paso and Amarillo games, you mentioned the travel involved. How common is it for a team traveling, I don't know what the exact time is, 8-9 hours, something like that, to actually win that game? Is it it could happen pretty easily, or is it like very rare that will happen?
Well, it just depends. I mean, the good football teams can get it done. It does. It's just another hurdle, though, that team has to overcome.
Yeah.
Some teams travel better than others, and we have regular season games that are in Abilene, so that's a pretty fur piece down there as well. Oh, my Texan came out there, fur piece. But, so Tascosa's definitely used to traveling. They've had to go all over the place. Of course, they get to stay home in the first round. Amarillo High's, not as accustomed to it. So we'll see how that affects the Sandys as they head south. Paladuro's got the same thing. They're playing down in the El Paso area as well.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of these games revealed, the dates and times. Last night on the News at 10, El Paso, Parkland, and Amarillo traveling down there. You mentioned Paladuro and Canutillo facing off in the El Paso area. In 4A, some of the games, Canyon and Burke Burnett. We can talk about a few of these games. Let's just mention Randall and Springtown. They're going to be playing at 6 p.m. on Friday, and Snyder. And wanted to mention West Plains as well. West Plains is playing Pecos, which I learned how to say. And that game's going to be Thursday at Seminole, so not too far away,
right.
At least in terms of when you're talking about this time of year.
Yes.
But the two games that I think we should focus on right now before we run out of time is Canyon and Burke Burnett, and Randall and Springtown. And actually, what I think we're going to do is we're going to take a short break, but we're going to be right back, and we will talk about Canyon and Dumas's games, rather, when we come back, and we'll highlight those a little bit and preview those as we kind of wrap Sports Drive up. So stick around. We'll be right back talking about more playoff matchups here on Sports Drive.